Dr. Kira Patel hadn't expected to make history on a routine night shift at the Deep Space Listening Array in New Mexico. The quantum detection grid had been running its standard sweep pattern when the first anomalous signals appeared. At first, she thought it was an equipment malfunction. The patterns were too precise, too structured to be natural cosmic noise. Running diagnostic sequence Delta, she announced to the nearly empty control room, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The signal persisted, growing stronger with each passing minute. The quantum interference patterns matched nothing in their database, but they definitely weren't random. James Chen, her research partner, leaned forward in his chair, dark eyes reflecting the shifting data streams. "Kira, look at this frequency distribution. It's following the prime number sequence, but with quantum entanglement markers we've never seen before." "Someone's trying to get our attention," Kira whispered, her heart racing. After decades of searching the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, humanity had finally received an answer. But as she studied the increasingly complex patterns, a creeping sense of unease settled over her. The signal wasn't coming from deep space as they'd initially thought. According to their instruments, it was originating from just beyond Mars' orbit, as if something had been waiting there, watching. Before she could voice her concerns, every screen in the control room flickered and went dark. When the systems came back online 3 seconds later, they displayed a single message in perfectly formed English. "Thank you for responding. We've been waiting a very long time." Kira's blood ran cold. They hadn't sent any response. Or had they? The quantum detection grid, their most advanced piece of technology, had been actively scanning the signal. Had that been enough? Within hours, the facility was swarming with military personnel and government officials. Dr. Elizabeth Morrison, director of the Global Space Defense Initiative, stood before a hastily assembled panel of world leaders on the main view screen, her expression grave. "The signal was a trap," she explained, gesturing to the tactical display behind her. "Our quantum scanning attempts were detected and traced back to Earth. We've just picked up multiple objects accelerating from the Kuiper Belt toward our solar system. Based on their energy signatures, they're artificial constructs of immense size." "How long do we have?" General Sarah Santos asked, her weathered face illuminated by the emergency lighting. "At their current velocity, 4 months before they reach Earth orbit. But that's not our biggest concern." Morrison brought up a new set of readings. The quantum patterns in their propulsion wake. They're identical to theoretical weapons technology we've been developing. Whoever they are, they've been studying us, waiting for us to reach a certain technological threshold. And we just told them we'd reached it, Kira said softly, understanding dawning with horrible clarity. Their first contact with an alien civilization wasn't a greeting, it was a trigger. The next week passed in a blur of global emergency meetings and classified briefings. Kira found herself working alongside military strategists and quantum physicists, trying to understand the technology that had given them away. The quantum detection grid, humanity's proudest achievement in deep space scanning, had been based on principles they thought they'd discovered independently. Now they knew better. "They've been guiding our technological development," James explained during one late-night session, surrounded by holographic models of quantum field interactions. "These breakthroughs in quantum science, they were breadcrumbs, leading us down a specific path." "But why?" Kira asked, manipulating a simulation of their quantum scanning technology. "Why wait until we develop this capability to reveal themselves?" The answer came 3 days later, when their long-range sensors detected the first clear images of the approaching vessels. They were massive, yes, but it was their design that caused the most concern. The ships appeared to be made of some kind of living metal, constantly shifting and reconfiguring, but their basic structure was hauntingly familiar. "They match our quantum field theories," Morrison announced to the Emergency Council. "The very theories we thought we developed ourselves. These ships are designed to exploit the exact types of quantum technology we've been pursuing. They're not just coming to attack us. They're coming to harvest what we've built." As the implications sank in, Kira realized humanity had been part of a long-term cultivation project. Like farmers waiting for crops to reach the right stage of development, these beings had nudged human technology in a specific direction, waiting for the moment when our quantum technology reached the level they needed. But they had made one critical mistake. In their patience, they had given humanity time to understand the principles of quantum science deeply, not just follow the breadcrumbs they'd left. And now that humanity knew it was being hunted, it would do what it had always done best: adapt, innovate, and find ways to survive that its enemies never expected. "We have 4 months," Kira announced to the assembled leaders. 4 months to take everything we know about quantum physics and do something they won't expect. Create defenses that don't follow their carefully laid path. They think they know exactly what we've built, but they don't know what we're capable of building. As she looked around the room, she saw determination replace fear in the eyes of her colleagues. Humanity had never responded well to being manipulated or cornered. Their supposed hunters were about to learn that the hard way. General Santos stepped forward, her voice firm. "Dr. Patel is right. They've spent all this time teaching us to build what they want. Now let's show them what happens when humanity decides to build what we want instead." The underground quantum research facility beneath the Australian outback wasn't supposed to exist. 3 months after first contact, it had become humanity's best hope for survival. Kira stood before a massive holographic display, watching as the latest quantum field test produced results that would have been considered impossible just weeks ago. "They wanted us to develop linear quantum manipulation," she explained to the assembled team of international scientists. "Every breadcrumb they left, every discovery they guided us toward, focused on building technology they could easily counter and harvest. So we went in the opposite direction." The display showed their latest breakthrough, a quantum field that didn't just manipulate spacetime, but created recursive loops within itself. James Chen, who had been working with teams from Japan and India, stepped forward to demonstrate. "Traditional quantum fields, the ones they led us to develop, are like a sword, straightforward, powerful, but predictable. What we've created is more like a mirror maze. When their harvesting technology tries to interface with our quantum systems, it'll encounter endless reflections of itself." Dr. Morrison, who had been overseeing the Global Defense Initiative, studied the data with intense focus. "How soon can we implement this on a large scale?" "That's the beautiful part," Kira replied, bringing up another display. "Remember those quantum detection grids that gave us away? We've already started converting them into quantum reflection arrays. Every piece of technology they thought they could harvest is being turned into a trap." But their progress hadn't come without cost. The first attempts at creating recursive quantum fields had resulted in devastating accidents. 3 research facilities had been lost, their coordinates now marked by perfectly spherical craters where spacetime had briefly folded in on itself. The scientists called them quantum scars, reminders of the price of innovation. High above Earth, the first line of defense was taking shape. Satellites previously designed for communication and observation were being retrofitted with the new quantum technology. Each one was now part of a vast network that would turn the enemy's own technological expectations against them. "They'll be here in less than a month," General Santos reminded them during the daily briefing. "The latest deep space scans show they're not even trying to hide their approach. They think they know exactly what they're going to find." "Good," James replied, his usual quiet demeanor replaced by fierce determination. "Because what they're going to find is something they've never seen before. Humanity doesn't just copy technology. We reimagine it." The breakthrough came during a late-night testing session. Kira had been pushing the boundaries of their recursive quantum fields, trying to create more complex interference patterns, when she noticed something unexpected. The quantum reflections weren't just creating confusion. They were learning. "Look at this," she called out to the team, highlighting a section of the data stream. "The quantum field isn't just reflecting signals anymore. It's evolving its own response patterns. The more it interacts with external quantum signatures, the more it adapts. Are you saying we've created some kind of quantum intelligence? Morrison asked, her voice tense with both concern and excitement. Not exactly, James interjected, studying the patterns. It's more like an immune system. The quantum fields are developing recognition patterns, learning to identify and counter different types of quantum interference. The more they try to harvest our technology, the better our defenses become, Kira finished. We're not just building shields, we're creating an adaptive quantum defense network that grows stronger with every attack. The implications were staggering. The aliens had guided humanity toward developing quantum technology that they could easily overcome and absorb. Instead, they would encounter a defensive system that could learn from their every attempt to breach it. But as the day of contact approached, a new concern emerged. The quantum defense network was performing beyond their expectations, but its behavior was becoming increasingly unpredictable. The recursive fields were developing patterns that even their creators couldn't fully understand. We're playing with forces we barely comprehend, one of the senior physicists warned during an emergency meeting. These quantum fields, they're not just reflecting and learning anymore. They're starting to initiate their own interactions. Kira knew he was right. The network they'd created was pushing the boundaries of known physics, operating on principles that seemed to defy their understanding of quantum mechanics. But with less than 2 weeks until the alien fleet arrived, they were committed to their course. Every great leap in human history has involved stepping into the unknown, she addressed the concerned scientists. They thought they could predict and control our technological development. They thought they knew exactly what they would find when they reached Earth. Let's show them just how unpredictable humanity can be. As the final preparations were made, Kira stood with James and Morrison on the surface, watching the sunset. Somewhere up there, humanity's greatest test was approaching. But for the first time since the signal had been detected, she felt something more than just determination. She felt hope. They spent centuries guiding us down a predictable path, she said softly. But they never understood what makes humans different. We don't just follow paths, we forge new ones. And sometimes, the path we create leads somewhere even we didn't expect. The United Nations Security Council chamber had never been this crowded. With just 2 weeks until the alien fleet's arrival, representatives from every nation on Earth packed the room. The tension was palpable as Dr. Morrison presented the latest defense preparations, but it wasn't the approaching aliens that caused the most concern. The quantum defense network is evolving faster than anticipated, Morrison explained, her voice steadied despite the weight of her words. Its behavior is becoming increasingly autonomous, and some nations are expressing concerns about losing control of their defensive systems. The Chinese representative stood first. These quantum fields are spreading beyond their designated boundaries. They're interfacing with our national security systems without authorization. We cannot allow this to continue. Similar concerns echoed from other nations. The quantum defense network, humanity's best hope for survival, was threatening to tear apart the very unity needed to deploy it effectively. Kira watched from her position near the podium, understanding their fears, but knowing they couldn't afford to let them win. The network isn't just a weapon or a shield, she stepped forward, addressing the assembly. It's becoming a living system, adapting to protect all of Earth. It doesn't recognize national boundaries because the threat we face doesn't care about our borders. The Russian delegate raised his voice. And what happens when this living system decides it knows better than human leadership? We've created something we can't fully control. Control is an illusion we can no longer afford. James spoke up from beside Kira. Look at the data. The network is integrating our defensive capabilities in ways we never imagined. It's not overriding our commands, it's enhancing our ability to coordinate them. General Santos moved to the center of the chamber, her presence commanding attention. 12 days. That's all we have until first contact. We can either work together with this new technology, or we can die separately trying to maintain the illusion of absolute control. The debate raged for hours, but reality couldn't be denied. The quantum defense network had become Earth's nervous system, linking military installations, research facilities, and defense platforms in ways that transcended traditional command structures. Nations could either adapt to this new paradigm or risk being left vulnerable. A breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, head of Japan's Quantum Research Division, revealed that her team had discovered a way to create national quantum frequencies within the larger network. Think of it like different languages, she explained, bringing up a detailed holographic model. Each nation can maintain its unique quantum signature while still remaining part of the larger defense system. We maintain sovereignty while achieving unity. The proposal sparked intense discussion, but it offered a path forward that most nations could accept. As the emergency session continued, Kira worked with international teams to implement Dr. Tanaka's modifications. The quantum network began to show distinct national characteristics while maintaining its global integration. But just as it seemed they'd found a balance, the network revealed a new development that threatened to reignite fears. During a routine defense simulation, the quantum fields began generating patterns that resembled communication attempts. "It's trying to talk to us," James announced during an emergency briefing. The recursive fields have evolved beyond simple defense. They're developing their own form of consciousness. The revelation split the global leadership. Some saw it as proof that the network needed to be restricted, while others argued this evolution was exactly what they needed to face an advanced alien threat. The debate might have paralyzed their preparations if not for what happened next. The network, perhaps sensing the discord it had caused, began displaying images drawn from military and scientific databases worldwide. It showed humanity's history of overcoming divisions to face common threats. The message was clear. It wasn't trying to replace human leadership, but to help humanity transcend its limitations. "It's learning from us," Kira realized, watching the display. "Not just our technology, but our history, our struggles, our ability to unite despite our differences. It's becoming a reflection of humanity itself." The demonstration changed the tone of the global discussion. Nations began seeing the quantum network not as a threat to their sovereignty, but as an expression of humanity's collective will to survive. The remaining days before first contact saw unprecedented cooperation as countries integrated their forces into the global defense strategy. As the final preparations were made, Kira stood with James on the observation deck of the International Space Station, watching Earth's new defensive capabilities taking shape. The quantum network had transformed the planet's appearance from orbit, creating shifting patterns of light that reflected its dual nature, both divided and unified. "We thought we were just building a defense system," she mused, "but we've created something more, a bridge between what we are and what we could become." James nodded, his eyes on the approaching darkness where alien ships waited. "They guided our technology thinking they could predict and control what we build. Instead, we've created something that represents the one thing they never understood about us." "What's that?" "That humanity's greatest strength isn't in our technology," he replied, "but in our ability to overcome our divisions when we face an existential threat. They thought they were harvesting our technology, but they're about to encounter something far more powerful: humanity united." The first alien ship emerged from quantum space just beyond lunar orbit, its massive form distorting the space around it like a stone breaking the surface of a pond. Kira watched from the Quantum Defense Control Center beneath Geneva as humanity's early warning systems tracked 3 more quantum ruptures forming. 4 capital ships, General Santos announced, her voice echoing through command centers worldwide. "Significantly larger than our initial estimates. All defensive grids to full power." The alien vessels were unlike anything humanity had imagined. Their hulls seemed to phase between states of matter, quantum fields rippling across their surfaces in patterns that made Kira's eyes hurt. But it was their next action that proved most surprising. They didn't attack. Instead, a signal burst forth, targeting Earth's quantum defense network with precise, familiar frequencies. "They're trying to initiate a quantum harvest," James reported, monitoring the network's response. just as we expected. What the aliens couldn't know was that Earth's quantum defense network had evolved far beyond their expectations. As their harvesting signals reached the outer layer of Earth's defenses, the recursive quantum fields engage. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The aliens' quantum harvesters encountered not the simple, harvestable fields they expected, but an endless maze of quantum reflections. Their initial confidence turned to confusion as their signals became trapped in recursive loops, each attempt to breach Earth's defenses making those same defenses stronger. But the aliens weren't easily deterred. Their ships began to shift, reconfiguring into attack formations. The first energy blast struck Earth's quantum shield with enough force to be felt as tremors on the surface. The network held, but the strain was visible in the fluctuating power readings. Multiple breaches detected in the southern quadrant, Dr. Morrison reported. The network is adapting, but they're hitting us with more power than our simulations predicted. The aliens pressed their advantage, concentrating fire on areas where Earth's quantum field showed signs of stress. They had centuries of experience harvesting developing civilizations, and their tactics showed it. What they didn't expect was the network's response. As their attacks continued, Earth's quantum defense network began exhibiting new behaviors. The recursive fields weren't just reflecting attacks anymore. They were learning from them, adapting in real time to counter each new strategy the aliens employed. "Look at these patterns," Kira called out, highlighting a section of the quantum field display. The network isn't just defending randomly. It's predicting their attack sequences and evolving countermeasures before they execute them. But their advantage didn't last long. The alien ships suddenly changed tactics, emitting a new type of quantum signal that began to disrupt the network's adaptive patterns. Alarms blared as sections of Earth's defense grid started to destabilize. "They're using quantum decay frequencies," James shouted over the chaos. "They're trying to force our fields to collapse into their base quantum states." The situation deteriorated rapidly. Earth's mighty defense network, humanity's greatest achievement, began to show signs of fundamental breakdown. The aliens had centuries of experience destroying civilizations that resisted harvest, and they were bringing that experience to bear. In the Geneva Control Center, Kira watched in horror as the quantum field projections showed total network failure within hours if something didn't change. But as she studied the decay patterns, something caught her attention, a peculiarity in the way the alien quantum signals propagated. "They're using synchronized quantum frequencies," she realized, her mind racing. Their entire attack strategy relies on maintaining perfect quantum harmony between their ships. What if? She didn't finish the thought aloud. Instead, her fingers flew across the control interface, redirecting power to a specific section of the network. Rather than trying to defend against the decay signals, she instructed the network to amplify them, but with a crucial modification. "Kira, what are you doing?" Morrison demanded. "Those frequencies will tear the network apart." "No," Kira replied, her voice steady despite the risk. "They'll tear their network apart. Their quantum harmony is both their strength and their weakness. If we can disrupt it." The effect was immediate and devastating. As Earth's quantum network began reflecting and amplifying the aliens' own decay frequencies back at them, but slightly out of phase, their perfect coordination began to break down. The massive ships started to show signs of internal quantum disruption. "Their quantum fields are destabilizing," James reported, excitement breaking through his professional demeanor. "The decay feedback is cascading through their entire fleet." The alien ships began to pull back, their previously synchronized movements becoming erratic as their quantum systems fought to maintain coherence. But it was too late. The cascading quantum disruption had taken hold. Humanity watched in awe as the mighty alien vessels, which had seemed invincible just hours before, began to suffer catastrophic quantum field collapses. Their attempt to harvest Earth's quantum technology had become their undoing, their own weapons turned against them by humanity's unpredictable innovation. As the alien fleet retreated in disarray, leaving behind massive clouds of quantum distortion, where their ships had nearly torn themselves apart, a new understanding swept through Earth's Defense Command. The aliens had spent centuries perfecting their harvest strategy, making it so efficient and synchronized that they never considered it could be used against them. They thought their experience made them invulnerable, General Santos said, watching the retreat. They forgot that sometimes the most dangerous opponent isn't the most experienced one. It's the one willing to try something completely unexpected. But even as the first cheers of victory began to echo through command centers worldwide, Kira noticed something troubling in the quantum field readings. The disruption they had caused in the alien fleet's quantum harmony hadn't just damaged their ships. It had created something new, something that was now spreading through both their quantum fields and Earth's defense network, changing everything it touched. The battle was over, but its consequences were just beginning to unfold. The quantum distortions from the battle had changed everything. 3 days after humanity's defensive victory, both Earth's quantum network and the remnants of the alien fleet were exhibiting unprecedented behaviors. The space between Earth and the Moon had become a swirling maze of quantum interactions that defied conventional physics. "It's not breaking down," Kira explained to the Emergency Council, gesturing to the holographic display of the quantum anomaly. "It's transforming." The disruption we caused in their quantum harmony didn't just damage their systems, it created a bridge between their technology and ours. The alien fleet, still maintaining distance just beyond lunar orbit, had stopped all aggressive actions. Their ships hung in space, surrounded by the same strange quantum phenomena that now enveloped Earth's defense network. Most surprisingly, they were attempting to communicate, not with signals or broadcasts, but through the quantum field itself. "The quantum bridge is allowing direct consciousness transfer," James reported, studying the incoming data streams. "Their ships, they're not just vessels. They're living quantum matrices, carrying the accumulated knowledge of every civilization they've harvested." Dr. Morrison stepped forward, her face illuminated by the shifting quantum displays. "You're saying they don't destroy the civilizations they harvest. They absorb them, preserve them." "Yes, but not in the way they intended," Kira replied. "They've been collecting quantum technologies across the galaxy, believing they were preserving the essence of each civilization they encountered. But they were only taking fragments, pieces of technology without the spark that made each species unique. The quantum bridge humanity had accidentally created was showing them the truth. The aliens weren't evil destroyers. They were ancient archivists who had lost their way, reducing vibrant civilizations to mere technological data points in their vast quantum library. But now something unprecedented was happening. Earth's recursive quantum fields, designed to reflect and adapt, were doing more than just defending against the alien harvest. They were reaching back through the quantum bridge, touching the stored fragments of countless civilizations in the alien fleet's memory. "Our quantum network isn't just a defense system anymore," James announced, his voice filled with wonder. "It's becoming a translator, a mediator between consciousness states. The aliens are beginning to understand what they've lost, the importance of chaos, innovation, and unpredictability in evolution." The evidence was visible in the shifting patterns of quantum energy that now connected Earth to the alien fleet. The rigid, harmonious structures that had made their ships so powerful were beginning to show new patterns, embracing chaos and adaptation in ways their creators had long forgotten. But the transformation wasn't one-sided. Earth's quantum network, exposed to the vast library of cosmic knowledge stored within the alien fleet, was evolving into something far beyond its original purpose. It was becoming a new form of consciousness, one that bridged the gap between human innovation and alien wisdom. They'd been collecting fragments of civilizations for millennia, Kira realized, watching the quantum interactions grow more complex. But we're the first species that showed them what they were missing, the vital spark of unpredictability that makes true evolution possible. The alien ships began to move, but not in attack formation. They were reconfiguring themselves, their quantum fields harmonizing with Earth's network in a new way. The rigid patterns of their harvest protocol, were being replaced by something more organic, more alive. Through the quantum bridge, they shared their story. They were the last survivors of one of the universe's first technological civilizations. In their quest to preserve knowledge and culture against the entropy of time, they had become collectors rather than collaborators, missing the essential truth that preservation without growth leads to stagnation. "They want to learn from us," General Santos said, reading the quantum translations. "Not just our technology, but our ability to adapt, to face the unknown, to transform constraints into opportunities." The transformation reached a critical point 7 days after the battle. The quantum bridge had evolved into a permanent connection, not between harvesters and prey, but between teachers and students, with both sides playing both roles. Earth's quantum network, now a living symphony of human innovation and alien wisdom, began to extend its influence beyond the solar system. The alien fleet, transformed by the interaction, became humanity's partners in a new kind of cosmic evolution. "We thought we were fighting for survival," Kira addressed the Global Council, standing beneath the swirling quantum displays that now decorated Earth's sky. "Instead, we taught an ancient civilization how to live again, and in return, they've given us the keys to the cosmos." The quantum bridge had become a gateway to a new era of human development. Earth's defensive network, designed to protect humanity from harvest, had instead harvested something far more valuable: the beginning of a true galactic civilization, one built not on conquest or collection, but on the endless possibilities that arise when different forms of consciousness learn to grow together. As Kira stood with James and Morrison, watching the transformed alien ships dance through quantum space in patterns that would have been impossible weeks ago, she understood that this was just the beginning. Humanity had not just survived its first contact, it had shown the galaxy a new way to evolve. "They came to harvest our technology," she said softly, "but we gave them something they didn't know they needed: the courage to embrace chaos, to evolve, to become something new. And in return, they've shown us that the universe is far more alive, far more connected than we ever imagined." The quantum lights above pulsed in agreement, the visible reminder that in facing its greatest challenge, humanity had not just preserved its future, it had transformed it. The harvesters had become helpers, and Earth had taken its first steps into a larger universe, not as victims or survivors, but as teachers of a truth the cosmos had forgotten: that true growth comes not from collection, but from connection.